Hey guys, what's going on? This is Dr. Matt Winning at winningstrength.com. Hope you guys are having a really good week. And before we get to the video, if you guys can like and subscribe and actually do some commenting, that'll help the channel tremendously. Now, today's topic is how to alleviate lower back pain forever. Now, for most of us, actually about 75 or 80% of us will develop or have lower back pain or a debilitating problem with our lower back at some point of our lives. I think personally, being in the field for nearly 30 years with a doctorate in kinesiology, that this is probably preventable if we follow some key steps. Now, the big trick is, what are these key steps in order for us to have back pain? Because a lot of these are not well known. So make sure you watch the entire video so that you understand this and can use it in your training. And even if working out and being ultra fit is not your goal, a lot of these different objectives will still be very important for you as you start the aging process to make sure that that happens much, much slower. The first one we have to get to is you need to use exercises that are less compressive. Now, it doesn't mean that compressive exercises are necessarily a bad thing. Squatting and deadlifting are known to put on a boatload of muscle tissue, a very good amount of bone density, and also a very good amount of ligament and tendon resiliency to injury and problems down the road. But they are oftentimes overused, meaning that deadlifting and squatting, as good as they are, can oftentimes be used way too often. Its frequency can be more than, say, once or twice a week. There are some programs even out there talking about doing stuff like this every day, which I 100% disagree with. But we have another side of the token as well. We have people talking about how you should never deadlift at all. Actually, I just got into a conversation, we'll call it that, on Instagram where we had some fairly decently level guy was a Mr. Universe talking about the deadlifts are not important. We've all heard Robert Orbers talk about don't deadlift if it's not in your sport. I'm not necessarily in agreement with that. But what I am in agreement with is that you may want to be very careful at doing those lifts until you've had a professional assessment to make sure that your back, both posture and control under load, are at least governed and utilized in a proper way. Meaning, like, you see a lot of people go into the normal gyms and deadlift and squat and they have no professional help. They've never gotten a professional assessment. They make poor choices in both volume and intensity from not following a program, which on the surface makes these lifts look bad for normal people. So in a normal gym setting, I would say that deadlifts and squats are poor. But now for advanced athletes that have good coaching, for instance, our online coaching on the website, for example, where people are watching your technique and giving you feedback, these lifts are 100% safe and furthermore probably very advantageous to your goals, regardless of whether it's football or just daily living. But back to my original point is exercises that are less compressive and still hit the same muscle groups can be 45-degree back extensions. They can also be reverse hyperextensions. They can be glute ham raises. These are muscle groups that play a huge role and a primary role in the deadlift, but don't necessarily have the same amount of vertebral spinal compression. I just did another video on this, are deadlifts good or bad? I think a lot of people still need to go and watch. I honestly wish that video would have had 150 million views so that people would stop spreading a lot of ignorant shit on the internet. I don't think that's ever going to stop, but at least I can say I tried my part. So yes, deadlifting is fine. Deadlifting is good for nearly every population, but the amount of volume and frequency that you need in that can be limited based on, one, your goals, and two, what your technique looks like. The next big thing that I think that people misconstrue or misunderstand is that box squatting is also a hell of a lower back protector. If you look at when you guys squat and you go really deep, the hamstrings are starting to stretch, the glutes are starting to pull, all which pull on your lower back. If we set a box height to, for most people, somewhere around parallel, for competitive lifters, probably somewhere around an inch below parallel, what we'll start to notice is that your lower back will be able to withstand so much more pressure doing box squats. Sorry the lights have went on and off. For some reason my power is acting weird at the house. But my point is that if you have a back issue, I strongly suggest you try box squatting and see if it alleviates or at least lets you squat with less or no lower back pain. You'll find that that's very important. Now, a key tip and a pro tip is make sure when you're doing a box squat, do not use a normal bench press. You need at least a 24 by 24 inch square box so that you actually sit on your hamstrings and not just your tailbone. The next big thing that I think we need to understand is you need to train your abs standing up. So although crunches and a lot of other ab exercises are mostly based on the floor, learning how to brace and stiffen your core in a standing position is more important because it's more specific. For I would say 95% of lower back issues or back issues in general are usually caused by a movement standing up. So if you don't know how to use your abs in a standing position, it becomes very difficult to learn how to protect your back. So what are some things we can do? Well, one, we can do band crunches. Band crunches are a great way to also alleviate some compressive forces on the back while learning how to turn on your abs in a standing position. That's one great exercise for abs standing up. Another one can be side bend, oblique bends, and there's a lot of other ones that we don't need to go into today. But the point is think about your ab training and think about how much of it you're doing standing up or sitting down or laying down. And you'll find that probably you're not doing near enough standing up to learn how to control your abs in a standing position. This will also help lower back pain tremendously. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is developing your lats. This is something you don't hear a lot of people talking about with back protection and back pain. But if we look at an anatomy chart, the lat pretty much attaches to roughly 80% of your spinal column. And so if you have weak lats, again, why we should deadlift to help our back strength is because if we deadlift correctly and utilize the lat muscle in order to at least stiffen, we learn that we lock the back into a position that makes it very hard to do any spinal flexion. So big lats tend to protect the ligaments, tendons, and bone structure of the back muscles all the way from the trap all the way down to your tailbone. So I find that a lot of people I have seen that have major back issues also don't have lats. Now we can attack lats in a lot of different ways. We can do lat pull downs. We can do rows. We can do face pulls. We can do sled dragging. There's a lot of different things that we can do for lats that a lot of people don't necessarily think that this is going to alleviate back pain. But again, big lats equals less back problems. So this is Dr. Matt at winningstrength.com. I hope this alleviates a little bit of your back problem. If not, hop on winningstrength.com, come and check out our online coaching and let us design a custom program and then try to start working on the deficiencies in your training that you may have that are holding you back or causing pain. Talk to you guys soon, and please visit the website.